President, it's always a great honor to come to this hallowed floor to fight for our youth, our nation's greatest treasure. I would ask the White House to leave our kids alone. They're the ones that have picked this fight. It's the White House that won't leave our kids alone. I rise in support of SJ Resolution 42, which would strike down a policy memorandum regarding the federal school lunch program that the USDA issued and has since been weaponized against our youth. That's right, this administration is using school lunches to attack our youth, to implement their transgender policies. Let me begin by stating, as a physician, as an OBGYN, I've devoted my entire life to the health and well-being of moms and children. From a mother's first visit to our office, to the baby's birth and during the childhood. Nutrition is a key to the healthy development and growth of every infant, toddler, and school-aged child. And in my time as a doctor now at Capitol Hill, there's nothing I've stressed more to moms than the importance of nutrition. But with that being said, I'd like to make it abundantly clear as I address this chamber, there's no greater champion for children's health and nutrition than me. That's why, as you can imagine, I'm deeply troubled by the way my friends across the aisle have described this intent of this revolution today. And I'm actually shocked by just how wrong and frankly deceitful they are with their tactics and messaging on this CRA. Let me be clear. The only player in this policy fight that wants to and has actually suspended access to the school lunch program is the Biden administration. After 3 years, I thought I'd seen it all when it came to what this current administration is willing to do in order to force its radical transgender agenda on the American people. Unfortunately, we have underestimated how committed they are to forcing this harmful ideology on all of us. Today, I'm bringing this resolution to the floor to expose the lengths of the Biden administration is willing to go to appease the far-left factions of their party. Now, I learned a long time ago with this White House, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Take note, observe their actions. Listen to this. A memorandum issued by the USDA last May shows that they have extended fighting their culture war in a way that leaves school lunches for children hanging in the balance. Right now, as I stand here in this chamber, the Biden administration is threatening food assistance for low-income kids unless the schools they attend carry out their transgender agenda, putting children's access to lunch at risk. This resolution of disapproval we're considering today aims to overturn this horrific policy memorandum for the USDA, which would deny low-income kids access to the federal school lunch program if their school does not adhere to the Biden administration's mandate. This includes, but it's not limited to, requiring biological boys to be given access to girls' bathrooms and locker rooms, or allowing biological boys to compete in girls' sports. We've heard all these stories of young women denied opportunities to win a championship or gain a scholarship because of a biological boy was allowed to compete in their events. Listen, this is flat out wrong. And as someone who was a middle school student when Title IX was enacted, and I saw firsthand the value that law added to allow young girls to participate in school sports, many of whom went on to receive athletic scholarships. To see this actions by the White House is heartbreaking. The USDA memorandum would force Christian schools to abandon their religious belief. Listen, this is not hyperbole or political rhetoric. The Biden administration has already weaponized the school lunch program and suspended access to the school lunch program specifically in 2 schools, requiring both to file lawsuits over losing federal food assistance. In California, the USDA has actually taken away school lunch funding from kids because a Christian school refused to violate their closely held religious beliefs in their hiring policies. Because this school wanted to draw their workforce from a pool of individuals who share their values and live out their religious convictions, children including LGBT families, had the federal funding for their lunches taken away. This is fact. What's ironic here is there was an original case in Florida where USDA granted an exemption for religious schools and enforced the federal statute that includes a robust religious exception. But this year, a second lawsuit has been filed because the USDA wasn't abiding by the standard the statute set. If the USDA is not going to follow its own exemption and ignore federal law, then we must act, and we must act today. More than 20 Republican attorney generals agree with me and are suing the USDA over the policy memorandum. If this USDA policy continues, schools risk losing federal funds for free and reduced lunches. In total, more than 29 million students nationwide receive free or reduced lunch programs, something I'm proud to support. We must protect these children's food security, their privacy, and their safety at all costs. The USDA has no authority to force this on our children or the schools they attend to adhere to woke mandates such as requiring boys to be given access to girls' bathrooms and locker rooms or allowing boys to compete against girls in girls' sports. The USDA has no authority to tell Christian schools they have to violate their religious beliefs. I'll wrap it up with this. We must stop this policy dead in its tracks to protect access to school lunches for students across the country and send a clear message to this administration: stop weaponizing the federal government. And let me state again, the only player in this policy fight aiming to take away access to the school lunch program is the Biden administration. This CRA would not allow for the discrimination against kids in the lunch line. That's protected by federal law. It's in statute. With that, I encourage my colleagues to support its passage. Mr. President, I'd like to yield the remainder of my time to the senator from the great state of Texas, Senator.
Senator from